It's our initial Under the Hood, and what a thrill to welcome Barrett Dungy to the set and a chat here coming up. What a pleasure. Welcome.
It's an extreme pleasure for having me. Thank you.
This is awesome. We know how this story ends with where you are today and what you're doing now, but we want to go back and figure out a little bit about the man and how you got to this part. So we'll start. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Gary, Indiana. It's about 20 miles outside of Chicago. It's a very small steel mill town, home of the Jackson Five, Fred Williamson, and a lot of other people. It was a good. It was great to grow up there. It was a small town. It was a small town living at its best. We had a black mayor, one of the first. And then my grandfather was a developer. He built like 3/4 of the homes there.
Wow.
So we had a little name recognition, which made my life easier, a lot easier.
And high school?
High school, I was a nerd. My name didn't help. If I didn't look, you didn't look like Michael Jackson. It was hard.
So you get going. What were the first jobs that you had?
When I first started, I worked at the grocery store. I worked at a steel mill. I used to sell leather handbags that I used to make, and we made too much money to work to get the summer jobs. So I had selling the handbags, and I had everybody in the neighborhood would sell them, and they would come back, bring me the money. I would give them some more merchandise. So I kind of employed about the 5 guys on our block. But one guy stole from me, and I had to fire all of them. My brother, I forgot about you. You owe me. But that was my first adventure in business. I couldn't keep a job though. I got fired all the time. I mean, all the time. If I was on a job 4 weeks, I broke a record. I just.
Why? Why'd you get fired?
Maybe I just realized that my job wasn't to sweep a floor. I remember a guy said, "Didn't your mama ever tell you how to sweep a floor?" And then I was going like, no, maybe I don't supposed to be sweeping floors. And I quit. And then we do it again and do it again and do it again. And I was late a lot too. I found out I had dyslexia, so that was, the way the 12 and hits the 8, and I just got all confused at what time I should be there. So I think my last job, I was trying to get to work. It was raining really heavy. I had a Volkswagen Beetle. It was a truck on 3 sides of me, and it was all spewing rain on there, and I couldn't see 2 inches in front of the car. But if I was late, I would get fired. So I had to keep on going. And I just remember pulling on the side of the road and just calling it quits. Because I ain't about to kill myself going to no job. And I think that was the last job I had. I was 19.
So what changed?
I realized that I would be a total failure if I didn't figure it out. Um, I knew that I couldn't keep a job, and I just thought about my life if this pattern continued. So I realized if it's to be, it is up to me. Um, and I decided to sell something.
Really? Really? Free testing and charging?
And if you need a new one, we've got you.
Really?
Welcome to America's #1 battery destination. AutoZone, your battery solution.
And I decided to sell something and start selling an alarm system where with sales job, you didn't have to actually be there in the office. So nobody know what time you came in. As long as you hit your appointments and you sold something, you were in good shape. And, you know, basically nothing really happens in this world unless something is bought or sold. So I started selling alarm systems. Um, and I didn't really work for the company unofficially. I, I, I started a couple of days, then they gave me the first check, and then it was just so low. And I just said, like, look, I'll just go part time. So they started giving all of my appointments away and to other salespeople. And I was like, hey, listen, that was my customer. I was just waiting for them to call back. And then they fired me.
Huh.
So here we go again. So back in the day, I used Whiteout and took their name off, typed my name across, went and closed my deals. And then I came back and sold those contracts with what I wanted as a commission. And he paid me for them. I did about 3 deals like that, moved to Atlanta. The rest is history. Started a small alarm company here. And about 2 years, my old boss that fired me came up and bought my company. And I still sold for a little bit, but it was no longer my company. Um, but I enjoyed it. I mean, I really enjoyed it. It's like we're still friends today.
What year was that?
Before Christ? No. I would about 1980, 81, 82.
Okay.
Um, then I think I got into autos. I was the first African-American cell phone agent here. And then I moved on to pagers. We did pagers. And then I went to custom wheels, and that's when I really hit a lick. Had a company called Low Profile. We did that for 15, 16 years. We did about 11 TV commercials a day on TV. Our sales were incredible. We had a recording studio in the back where a lot of people would come to record, like Nivea, CeeLo Green would come through, Bobby Valentino, just all of Atlanta's favorite. It was a hangout spot and a place to create at the same time. And we would sell custom wheels and tires to some of Atlanta's most notable celebrities. And I did that for a long, long, long time. We had 2 stores, one on Candler Road and one on Campbellton in Atlanta.
Was that sort of the entree into the entertainment world?
When I got out of that, I did not like, I didn't want a store anymore, but I did enjoy doing the commercials. The commercials were like fun, and we would do maybe every 2 months we would do another one and another one. We got voted best locally produced television commercials by Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and the money was good, and it was time for a new career. I couldn't really figure out what to do. You know, I was really good at marketing. Um, I loved the production of it. And at that time, I became like a Christian. And so I would watch these TV commercials, these gospel TV shows. They were horrible, man. I was just looking, I was like, I was cringe sometime um, at them. And so I started talking to some of the pastors so I could make it broadcast look better. And I would hire some people at Channel 2, and we would sell them the equipment, and then we would go back in and teach the ministry how to use the equipment properly. And I enjoyed that. I really had a good time doing that. I was at church all day, and at the end of the day, you can see the growth of their production and teaching these young kids how to use equipment. Um, and we did some really, really big churches then. Um, and then I decided I wanted to produce something. And that's when, you know, I seen that Tyler Perry was filming his stage plays. Thought that was a brilliant idea. Met Michael Matthews, and we proceeded to do his. And then I started working with Tyler to get distribution for his stage plays into Walmart, Redbox, and all the other outlets, which was probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Sorry.
So, that was the life changer, though. I mean, figuring out how to service that need. There was a tremendous hole in the market, and you figured out a way to fill that.
It was. It was absolutely. It's like, first of all, nobody knew who Tyler was because he never went to California and rarely went to New York. And the powers to be wasn't having it. They were like, who? What? This is a genre. It was the gospel plays he wanted me to sell, but they was coming out with the movie. So what happened was that people go like, it's a play. You're asking me to distribute a play. This ain't the Phantom of the Opera.
It's electric, made extraordinary. Ingenuity in motion. It listens, learns, adapts, and anticipates your every need. With intelligence that feels anything but artificial. The EQS from Mercedes-Benz. It's the car electric has been waiting for.
This ain't the Phantom of the Opera. But after the movie came out and it did so well, everybody I talked to called me and offered me distribution deals. And I signed everything that was in front of me. Everything. Because I knew how hard it was to let alone get somebody to call you back, but let alone have this opportunity. And that was my entry into the film distribution business.
And the rest is history, as they say, when it comes to urban home entertainment. The growth, not only in the United States, but internationally, has taken this thing to unbelievable heights.
I am amazed myself.
Barrett, the business acumen is obviously a big part of it, but your genius in getting the distribution, you had to have an eye for talent, and that is something that you've had all along. Where did that come from? Where you could pick, she's got it. She's going to be a star. He's got potential. How do you find that in people?
I think it started like with music. I remember the first time I heard Luther Vandross. He was with a group called Change. And I know who Change was, but I said, that guy's going to be a star. And then Frankie Beverly, when the first time I heard him on the radio, and I said, this guy is going to be big. And they were all newcomers. And then it happened. And I remember as a 17, 18-year-old wondering, I wish we could buy stock in people. You know, I wish that could, you know, you could trade that because I've been right. And so I really just thought about that's what I'm doing. If I invest right, and if I give them their first distribution opportunity, it's like stock. And when their careers happen, I own this amazing piece of property that I got before everybody else knew, but it was stock. I mean, I did Kevin Hart first stand up. It was stock. I knew exactly who he was and, you know, what he was doing. I worked with Zoe Saldana. I knew she was going to be big. And our first hits were huge hits. Unfortunately, I've worked through other people and I wasn't able to maintain it. I mean, the distribution business can be very tricky. You need a lawyer's lawyer to look at it because you got to think about the way those contracts were figured out by a whole team of lawyers. So your one lawyer is not going to untangle that. And if somebody does find a loophole and make a lot of money, they're going to fill it in. So you can't really win in a system like that. And so after my last beatdown through the system, I was trying to sue a company, and I was spending all my last money on the money I didn't get. I'm spending the money I got to get the money I didn't get. And I said, this is not making sense to me. So I withdrew. I literally took the films back, and I put them out again myself. And just wanted somebody to just, come on, sue me over this money I didn't get over a film that I took back. Of course, nobody did.
Right.
And I was able to, get our producers all of their money back on our own without the help of a studio. So that's what I did. I just opened up all of our vendors ourselves, and I held out for the ones that didn't want to give me a vendor number. I said, okay, kept it moving until they found out it was no other way there to get it is to sign us direct. And that was the best move I could have made in my life. I don't have to ask for permission. If I see something I want, we could do it. We went platinum with Ron White, which is amazing for independent to go platinum. It's like very rare. To go gold is honorable. To go platinum, it's just, and we probably did it a couple more times with some other titles, but we got pretty lucky.
And for our audience, what's the sales cutoff for gold and platinum?
It's a gold in record. It's $1 million, above $1 million. The same to do it in video, it would be 100,000 to even. It's the same effort in there. So and we're actually triple platinum. If that's the case, I just didn't have enough wall plaques.
Tell us the Kevin Hart story. How'd you meet him?
Gary Owens. We just signed him. He was an up and coming. Well, he was a well-known comedian, and he had a comedy special. We signed him, and then I asked him after we signed him. I said, "Who's next?" He said, "Kevin Hart." I said, "You talking about the guy that did Soul Plane? The little guy?" He's like, "Yeah, man, he's funny as hell." And then I says, "He's a comedian?" He's like, "Yes." And so I looked online. I see the little clip back then on YouTube. It was like 6 minutes. I think at that time, that's all they had. And he was funny. He gave me his number. We talked. And I said, hey, do you have 30 minutes? He said, I got 45. I got an hour. And then I says, you want to do a stand-up? He says, yeah, my manager don't think I'm ready, but I'm ready. And there we go back again through the system. Nobody heard of him. Da, 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 da. And it was about 4 months before I got somebody to say, yes, I'll give you $60K for it. And I just like, oh gosh. You know, so I said, Kev, I got $60K. He says, I can give you 10. Okay, I'll take it. Let's go. I'm like, what? And then once we start making it happen, he said, let me call my manager and tell him what I'm doing. And he called his manager. Next thing I know, this manager calls me and want to quantify me. He going like, I said, man, I don't know. Kev said, man, I'm doing it. It's me and you. He going to try to jump in after we do all of this? I roll with you. And I really thought that was amazing how he was just defiant, like with his, with his own people. He's like, I started with you and I roll with you. And that was the beginning. It was almost the same struggle with Tyler Perry. Nobody wanted him. They didn't see it.
Doesn't seem possible.
No, but it's like that. I saw Steve Harvey, and right after he had all the radio shows, the big movies, and he announced the wrong winner to the Miss America pageant. And they said, Steve Harvey's career is over. And then I said, well, let me just wait till after Christmas. People eat and forget. It was too fresh, too new. And I called a couple of people and trying to make it happen. And then they go, look, Steve Harvey, he's through. And I told him, I said, look, Steve, let me tell you this about Steve. Steve suffers from an incurable condition. It shows up sometimes when he's overworked or stressed. There's no medication for it. We tried to find something. He has brain scans and, went to the doctor for it and stuff like that, but it's nothing could be done. And what you seen was a live demonstration of what happens when he does that, especially with the hot lights. It really brings it on. The guy said, what is that condition? I said, Steve suffers from the human condition.
I was waiting for the punchline.
He does these live shows. He's going to make a flop. It's like, it's going to happen. And you can't stop it. That is what happens when you bring somebody on live TV. It happened. When you ask Steve about it, some guy sees Steve getting fitted for a suit a couple of days later. Ask Steve, man, I know you're embarrassed. I got to be the worst thing ever happened to you. Steve says, that ain't even in the top 10.
I can appreciate that.
The official charity partner of the Red Room Podcast Network is Rescue Me Georgia, an all-volunteer-based organization that specializes in assisting families and rescues around the country to find forever homes for dogs and cats through foster-based placement. A 501c3, Rescue Me Georgia relies entirely on donations to continue to provide care and medical assistance to the pets that need it the most. Use this QR code to learn more.
Barrett, there's so many young people that want to get into entertainment, let's say.
Yeah.
Whether it's movies, it's music, it's whatever. What advice would you give them?
Ooh, that's hard because I never really thought about it. I just did it. I had no option. I couldn't keep a job, but I knew I didn't want to be not successful. I would say follow your heart and outwork everybody to make sure that you're not a liar. When you say you want to do this, you can't half do it. You just have to, like, oh, I mean, I still work 10, 11 hours a day. It's like, I just never want to explain to my parents that I messed up, I didn't make it. And if I did, it would not be from lack of effort. So I just believe that hard work with a great plan, a lot of faith, and aim towards your target. And if somebody tells you you can't do it or you can't get there, just look and see where they are in their career and to see if you want that. Because a lot of people who are telling you that to give up, you're working too hard, are people who gave up themselves. People who, I would never tell somebody what they could or could not do because God could have been waiting all his existence to find somebody ignorant enough to do the very thing that people said it couldn't be done. And sometimes not knowing it can't be done is the energy you need to do that very thing. We've got about 6 young people with us. Nobody's under the age of 26. I let them do everything. When I take a call, I put it on speakerphone. I let them look at the contracts before I get them, go through the contract before I get them in, and then we talk about the contract. I come up with a crazy idea, and next thing you know, I have them do little pieces of it. Then they're following it down and then looking at the revenue that happened from that crazy idea. They tell me. So I let them do it in real time. And so that's a muscle. Success is a muscle. And every time you get some success, you know you can reach more and more. And sometimes you just have to start with small successes. And you get stronger. And then you go like, if I did that, I could do this. If I did that, I can do this. And it gets bigger and bigger. And so, I mean, we came up with a crazy idea about doing a stand-up comedy show for SiriusXM. I made the call. They said they'll take a listen to it. That was a year ago. We did 37 shows now, and we acquired the clip rights to the Queens of Comedy, the Kings of Comedy, Jamie Foxx's Laugh-A-Palooza. We got Paul Mooney. I mean, we have the Ruckus Comedy label, which has got about 62 different comedians under our label in just a year time, with SiriusXM spearheading it, with the shows. And they were all there with this crazy idea, and they all handled a moving part to make this happen. So I think what I am teaching them is it all starts with an idea. When you know where you're going, only one road leads there. If you don't know where you're going, get on 285. You just keep going around in a circle.
Fastball first. But there's something that you add to that mix. You're an encourager. You're taking these young people and you're saying, you go out there and you dot the I's and cross the T's. But you're standing over there in the corner too, watching and encouraging.
It's kind of like basketball. It's like, if the guy is no good, you're going to let him sit on the bench. But when you're far enough ahead, you let the bench play. And they can't mess anything up. They can only build. And my father, I remember, I'll never forget this. I was a young boy, and he grabbed me by the collar and said, listen, if you ever get a chance to win as a black man, and you get a chance to win, you win. And he let my collar go. I was only 2 years old. That was a big drop. But he really made his point. When you have a chance and an opportunity to win, some people only have to be lucky one time in their life, and that one lucky opportunity can take them all the way to the top. Some people have to be lucky every 6 months. But there are opportunities in all of that. And being lucky one time, which I got lucky, with Tyler and Kevin. That was the last thing I needed to be lucky. And everything else happened because I didn't take the one challenge that somebody told me, hey, can you find him some distribution? I took it and I'm finding everybody distribution. It's not, I'm not gonna okay, I did that and go on, but just taking advantage of every opportunity that you can possibly get and delivering on that to your maximum ability is where success comes from. Because you don't know when you ever get lucky again or have those opportunities again. I mean, like you, I'm sure that you started, maybe somewhere in a small station somewhere, and you took that opportunity, and look at you now.
What's next? What gets you excited to get up in the morning?
That's a good question. We're about to start doing some production. We're producing a show called Broken Busted. Is why I like those DIY shows, and so we're taking something that's busted, we throw some chicken change at it, and make it out of something. Like we took an Airstream, and we spent a few $1,000s for, lower $3,000-$4,000, through another $5,000 and then a lot of DIY, and turned it into an amazing property. And now we give that Airstream away to a single mother who lost her husband during COVID, has a daughter. She has a daughter that she does gymnastics. She can't keep it up. And she might not even be able to keep the house. So we're giving her this Airstream to use as an additional rental unit to provide additional income to them. So it's like we take something from this broken busted and give it to somebody else who's broken busted. And just like the phoenix, rises from the ashes, that just regular resources have been sitting around there, presented with the right opportunity, can get somebody out of that situation. So that's what the show concept is. I'm really excited about doing it. It's because I just think people just don't see what's right in front of them sometimes. A lot of people say, oh, that's discarded. That's lost cause, but it isn't. It just needs some polishing.
Good being on you.
Thank you.
You've done a world of good for a lot of people.
I would like to think that.
It's been an honor to have you on. All the best.
Thank you for having me. I
This is
really
great.
appreciate it.
Whoever hears this, you're going to touch another nerve out there. Somebody listening to this is going to hear you and your story, and they say, you know what? I'll give it a shot.
I would hope so. Because that would be, it's just people out there with careers that they didn't even think of. There's more careers than you know, and sometimes you just have to make it. So my grandfather always told me, do something odd, and you can make all the money. And I've had some odd jobs.
Well, you've turned it into a fortune, and congratulations.
Thanks
Thanks
so
for
much.
joining us. We really appreciate you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.